Hi everybody, my name is Marc, better known as Mr. Sabotage. Doing like customized sneakers for a living for the past 15 years, also design clothing. Currently here at Culture Cartel having two booths. We are doing a A6 collab with limited edition, which is downstairs, and I have my own booth there selling like Helinox and other collabs.
Sam?
Oh, sorry. Hi. Oh, I was just like, still thinking about what to say. My name is Sam Low. I usually go by the tag Glow. I started doing this maybe professionally about like 7, 8 years ago. And I first started out like doing a lot of like self-taught design. And after that, it just branched out to work on the streets because I wanted to play around and get more people to talk about it, I guess. And to talk about the issues that I wanted to put out. So it's become a career, and I go more into sculpting. So if I have a wall over there behind together the graphic stuff, and yeah, I hope you like it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And Jonning?
Hi, I'm Jonning. I've been doing footwear design for like 10 years, I think. I started similar like Marc. I started working with Limited Ad with Mandeep. Working on their collaborations projects with the various brands, and then recent years, like 2 years ago, I moved to Germany in Herzog. So right now I'm actually a footwear designer with Adidas at the moment. Yeah.
Cool. I think I'm going to go back to Jonning, and later each of you I want you to answer this question. Can you tell us a bit more about your whole creative journey and what led you to where you are right now? So just a bit about, what inspired you, why you got into what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. Well, first and foremost, I started out by being a consumer myself. Like, that's how I know Mandeep in the first place, right? It's through buying sneakers from Limited Ad, and then that's how we got connected. And one time, I saw that he was looking for like graphic designer, I remember. So I just went down and then just show some of my portfolio stuff. Because before I actually studied product design in Temasek Poly, so shout out PID from TP. And so back then I was just like thinking, I love to create, I love design. And I just thought like, what if it would be super cool if I could marry my passion for shoes with what I like to do. And that's how we kind of started this whole so-called footwear design journey that I have at the moment. Yeah, so it was starting from like, I think the first project was New Balance, I remember. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 577, yeah. And it just went on from there.
Cool.
Yeah.
How about you, Sam?
Well, back then I started this publication called Recognition, which was a platform for Singaporean talent. I didn't have any money to hire a designer or anything. So I ended up like teaching myself how to design using Photoshop, Illustrator. And so because the works were mostly in a street scene, so I guess I started hanging out a lot at Haji Lane and got to know a lot of friends over there. And it's from there that I was more exposed to street culture. So the first things that I designed was not just a website, but also like stickers and merchandise and all that kind of stuff. So at a point in time, I was like working, schooling, and also doing all this stuff on the side. And after that, I decided to go deeper into the whole issue, talk about social issues through these designs that I came up with. And so that's how it became like public art. I didn't even see it as art at that point in time. I was just thinking like, I just want to make stuff. I just want to like make it funny, And so from there, I got into some trouble, and yeah, I made a conscious decision to drop everything and just pursue this. So ever since then, I've gone into watercolor, sculpting, wall murals, design work, and a whole bunch of other stuff, just to like see that I could actually be this artist that I want to be. And so, yeah, it's pretty much the rest is history.
Very impressive. I mean, your journey is, I think we can go on and on about your journey, but I'm just going to move on to Marc. How about you, Marc? Your journey to where you are now?
Journey started like as far as I was a kid doing like skateboarding. So that's part, because my shoes are always trashed. So I always wanted like new sneakers to wear. And that desire started when since I was a kid, because the shoes are always patched up with holes, and I always wanted to patch them up in a way that's aesthetically pleasing. Then didn't know that there was such a thing called sneaker collecting, and then we started sneaker collecting in 1997, in the mid 90s kind of way. And back then there were no shoes. The shoes were all made for sports, and they only happen to be nice if you pair them up right. There was no shoes built for lifestyle. So started collecting a little bit. There were maybe 20 shoes to buy back then, versus now there are thousands of pairs to buy. Back then there were 20 pairs to buy, and then after finishing buying what I wanted, I felt that there was a void. There was something out there. There was something out there that I needed to wear, but it doesn't exist. So I started to paint on sneakers, painting colorways that I couldn't afford. Then started painting my own designs and started painting camouflage. And I got super obsessed with camouflage, and it's been 15 years that doing camouflage. And so it went on and on from starting from sneakers, and I started to think that I need to build the whole outfit. So I started to design from the ground up, and to designing the environment, limited edition store, stuff like that, and goes on. And I don't know where the canvas just gets bigger and bigger, and I feel that there's no end to it at all. So.
Very cool.
Okay, back to yourself on building your brand in Singapore. Maybe I can find out a bit from you. What kind of support is there like in Singapore, whether it's society or government, for being a creative and doing things like starting your own outfit?
Yeah. So as far as support-wise, I'm a skateboarder, punk rocker. So I never looked out for any support from the government or anything. So for me, I think the support is amongst my friends, people that I hang with, and when you make something and people want it, people around you want it, and that circle just spreads and spreads. Support from my parents for doing this crazy thing that doesn't make sense. They wanted me to be doctor or lawyer, but I said, fuck that, I don't want to be doctor or lawyer. I want to do what I want to do. So I guess it's more of the desire. If you want to do something, you want to start a brand, you shouldn't look for support. That to me, you shouldn't look for hey, you must support me. And I don't want to be that Singaporean who complains that, nah, the art scene is bad, I got no support. So there's nothing here, right? We have nothing. We are building our culture right now. It's what, we are 55 years old. So whatever you do now happens, you happen to be writing history. So you are creating the history. We are building the culture, and for the future. So that's my point of view.
Well said.
Yeah, well said. Sam, I'd like to ask you, so just now you were talking about street art and also getting into a little trouble. And so what do you think street art is in Singapore? Because sometimes some people define street art as the people's voice and freedom of expression, but it's not so much the case here. So what is street art here?
I think here it's a little bit trickier. I know in the States, a lot of my friends, or actually anywhere outside Singapore, they look at it very differently. Like street art, what it really means to really embody all that is just to really keep creating what you want, and it's not associated to any commercial work or anything at all. It's just about racking that paint, not having money to get the paint, racking paint, going out painting every day. So that is the lifestyle. You see, we don't really see that here because, I guess we're just a little bit safe. We are on a safe side. So in that respect, I think it's a little bit of a different thing. Another thing is that here, I guess the community is so small, the lines get a little bit more blurred. And because if we enjoy painting on walls and doing art in the streets so much, that if that's our only skill, there is actually no way we can actually make money from that if you want to keep going that purest route. So in the end, what happens to a lot of us is that we find channels for ourselves. So let's say maybe some of us try to go into galleries, some of us, actually a lot of us depend on commercial commissions for bread and butter projects. So we'll do like murals, we'll work with brands, and so that's pretty much how it's like, turned out to be. So recently, there are a lot more murals that are being commissioned as well, by not just like brands or agencies or lifestyle or just all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of like companies who want murals in their offices or out in public and stuff. And what's really interesting is that it's not just street artists or graffiti writers anymore. It's a lot more commercial illustrators who are being invited to create their work on a larger canvas. So I think it's really interesting and really cool, because this way we can get to see more than just like the usual, like the stuff that we actually think of what it should be like. We actually open up ourselves to see more different interpretations of how this art can be done and on a giant canvas. So it's great, like, it's a great progression actually.
Okay, so actually, like, instead of street art always being so anti-government or something, because we close off that door, we are creative in other ways, actually.
I think the beauty about living in this city is that we always find ourselves navigating on this line, either between commercial and non-commercial, but legal and illegal. I love the gray area. That's just, I mean, if they can't get you, just run with it.
Okay. How about you, Jonning? Like, throughout your creative career, what other difficulties have you faced? Like, any difficulties being in the commercial industry, in the workforce, and then, yeah.
I mean, I guess for me, because footwear design, I feel like it's quite a niche thing, especially in Singapore, and there is not that, basically the kind of challenge that I actually face in my journey. It's more of like, there's not enough avenues for me to kind of develop that aspect of what I want to do. And the only one I could find, which is with Mandeep, with Limited Ed. So to be honest, I was really like thankful for all the opportunities that I got from designing all the shoes that's coming out from Limited Ed, and that kind of helped to kickstart, my whole, building up my portfolio and everything. And so I think was it like in 2010 or something, I actually applied to this footwear design school called Pencil, yeah? And so it's like, this school is like dedicated to design of athletic footwear design, and it's founded by the ex-creative director from Jordan brand back then. So I went for the program for a month, and then it is only there I realized that, footwear design could actually be a thing. Like, I could actually pursue this as a dream, and that totally changed my approach. So after that, because before, for me, working with Limited Ed, it's more like, okay, I just love shoes. I want to design shoes so that I can design something I would wear and then my friends could wear. And it was after I attended Pencil, it became something that, okay, maybe this could be a career, right? And ever since I started like just sending out resumes to all brands, yeah, Nike, Adidas, New Balance, everything. And just the fact that because I'm in Singapore, no one reached back out to me. And yeah, and then fast forward to like, so that was like 2010, 2011, and then fast forward to 2015, suddenly I got an email from their recruiter from Adidas saying that, yo, we have a position open up, are you keen? Fuck yeah, it's like, immediately I said yes, and then it just, yeah, I guess it's about luck, I think. Yeah.
So I'm very proud of you too,
Yeah.
Jonning. So
Thank you.
just an interesting fact, the shoe he's wearing today, it's a Dragon Ball collab. So Jonning actually worked on the whole Dragon Ball collection project, which is also on display at one of the booths further down. So yeah, as you can see, he's ready making his mark, right? And just to carry on your question, right? I mean, both of you are based in Singapore. You obviously left it, maybe the opportunities weren't big enough for you, which you made the right move. Can you tell us about the opportunities you're getting overseas right now in Germany?
Opportunities, I guess, the fact that we are Singaporean and that it's like because right now, if you talk about the whole footwear industry, right, there's a lot of focus in the Asian market, for example. So I feel like being a Singaporean gives us an edge because we kind of sit in between the Western culture and the Asian culture. And the fact that, being a Chinese, I could speak Mandarin and all that, I think it's super beneficial to be the bridge. And one thing as well, I feel like in brands, sometimes they are in like their own little bubble, and they need to connect more with the ground. So when someone like, for example, myself, it's part of their whole creation team, it kind of brings a different perspective as well. And I'm actually quite glad that the current team that I'm working with is very international. So yeah, that kind of, it's a good working environment in my opinion.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, good points.
Yeah.
And it shows, I think, Singaporeans, we can have an influence. And all of you are flying the flag for Singapore really high. And some of you, I mean, I enjoyed the journey with you guys too. And just last question to all three of you. And I think it's the same question, but I hope there's some people out here who want to do something creative too, and or maybe it's something which you want to be, it's a future for you. What advice would you give them to pursue this dream of theirs?
For myself, what I've learned about being successful and wanting to strive for your dreams and all, is the most important thing is actually, in the wise words of Michael Jordan, it's failure. You gotta be comfortable with failure, because failure is part of success. You gotta go through like that 9 times of fails before you make one, successful hit, right? It's like skateboarding is like my mentor, what do you call it? My mentor, It's like you try to learn a trick. You're not gonna land it on the first try, right? You gotta keep trying. So I always have that in mind, and like, make failure be your friend. Make failure be your friend and be comfortable at failing. Most of us are like, we don't even want to try because we think we're gonna fail. You gotta be comfortable with failing, and that's how you succeed. So, and another thing is, I always end off by saying, just for creatives out there who wants to express themselves, it's like, never leave any of your ideas in your head, because they are useless in your head.
Great advice. Sam, any words of wisdom?
Save money. So important to save money. Didn't realize how important it was. But yes, that's, I guess, one of the most valuable things I learned. Save money. Oh my gosh, so important. And of course, do something. I think one of the things that we forget about, and I meet a lot of people who come to this point where they have like existential crisis, is that sometimes, even as creatives, they don't know what they're creating for anymore. And I think this is what I feel a lot of people get stuck at. Say real. Just remember why you started and how you fell in love with it in the first place. If you let your heart be that compass, right, and you make everything really because you want to and you feel a lot for it, it's meaningful, please just go and do it. Otherwise, there's really no point. There's really no point otherwise. Yeah.
Jonning, you last one, end it off.
Similar veins, I guess, in our Singapore society, I feel like we are kind of pre-programmed to be afraid of failure. So again, I feel like it's always good to fail, but make sure you learn from it, right? And also, if you find out, before you should also figure out what's your passion, and then be resilient, but just don't give up, do it, and then try to be the best at what you like to do, what's your passion, right? And at the same time, I feel like in today's age, social media is everything, so put yourself out there, be thick-skinned, things like that, and people will look out, will find you somehow if, you fit the right kind of things that they are looking for. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, panelists. Now we're going to open the questions to the audience. Anyone have any questions for any of the three of them?
Questions, guys? Don't be afraid of failure.
Don't shy. Don't be shy.
Ask.
Okay, I have a quick question for Sam. So Sam is also known as Sticker Girl, and she used to go around Singapore putting these signs on like the pedestrian crossing button, like press to time travel, press until shook, you know, that kind of thing. And then she was locked up for a while. So what was that like?
What was that like? Thank you. It was great. I was in there for like 22 hours, which is way shorter than usual. But for the first, I think 7 hours, I had no idea how long I was in the first room. And the thing is that I chose the wrong seat. I remember I chose the wrong seat in the lockup, the first cell, because I was like handcuffed to the seat that was facing the door with the window. And I couldn't move around much, so it was quite hard to sleep. And it was just very unglamorous the whole time, trying to be comfortable with my hand down there. But I think when I was in there during the first room, they were actually gathering all the other evidence from all the other places that I was at. So that was kind of messed up, but I had no idea what was happening or anything at all. And they brought me to the second cell without the handcuffs, and I made friends. One of them asked me if I was in there for urine. I had no idea what she meant. And then I realized she meant drugs, but no. But I think more than anything, it was, you wouldn't know what is day, what is night. The light is just constantly there. And I was worried sick about my family and my friends. I think that was the only thing. Otherwise, everything was just like, it was great, super zen in there, you know, talk to people. You know, you think twice about peeing because there are no walls. But otherwise, it was just worrying about what's happening out there. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for that insight. Yeah, we have a question from the audience.
Hey guys, thanks. I just wanted to get your opinion on where you see the creative industry in Singapore moving within the next 5 years, and what you see Culture Cartel doing for Singapore and the culture scene. And I ask that because I feel that it's really important, and as a person that's been in the creative scene here, I feel so proud to see such amazing talent on the stage and to see people here doing this. And it's been a tough road, so I want to know what you guys feel about the future. Thank you.
Okay, maybe we can start with Marc. 5 years from now?
Future is great, man. There are more and more platforms and more confidence, especially when we're traveling around Southeast Asia, doing projects and stuff. Like the information that I gathered from like people from overseas, like people are looking up to us. So imagine like I always see like New York City as the big brother of Southeast Asia, of big brother of all cities. And I feel that in Southeast Asia, we are kind of like the Manhattan of Southeast Asia, and the countries around us actually look up to us. So we do have a voice. We have a strong voice now, and I say like it is not time to slack. It is time to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and you know we are gonna be as mature as the West, you know, in terms of like street culture and all that, and especially with platforms like Culture Cartel, with this support, which is going to travel, I assume, and then you know it's just going to grow, and you know the future is right here, I feel.
Okay, maybe before we talk on Culture Cartel, I also want to ask, maybe also both of you, Sam, what do you think 5 years from now, how is the art industry where is it going to move towards?
I know for now there's a lot more funding, there's a lot more platforms that's being put into the arts. And I think they have a strategy for doing all this stuff. Like first, they want to expose you and get you more in touch with the arts. That's why there's so much more in public spaces And there are a lot more initiatives like that. There are even initiatives to fly Singaporean artists abroad to showcase their work, which is, we're seeing a little bit more of that right now, and I think that's a really good move. Otherwise, I don't think I would have gotten a chance to paint in Delhi, you know, because of an initiative like that. Thanks to the MFA, I was able to fly over there and actually showcase my stuff. So I think in 5 years down the road, I think right now what they're going for is engagement. And I think in 5 years, they might be pushing for a little bit more of maybe knowledge. So something that would actually help people learn more about Singaporean art, Singaporean artists, and from there really bring forth this vibrant art city that they promised us, I guess. And I think it's all a little bit of a step-by-step kind of thing. We can't push too much of it at one point. And so looking at how things are going right now, I would say, to be honest, my only concern, or my first concern, is to make the environment nurturing for young artists entering the industry. And I want to see that in 5 years, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. It's not about pushing what we have now, but nurturing what we have to come. And Jonning, what are Adidas' secret plans for the next 5 years?
I mean, firstly, I don't think I'm able to share, but to be honest, I think fashion is something tricky. It's something really tricky because the thing is that trends change so quick. So I can't really tell you in 5 years how is it going to be. But of course, it's going to be more advanced technology in terms of whatever, like materials and stuff like this, innovation in terms of materials, cushioning, whatever. Because after all, we are an athletic brand, right? So sports brand. But in fashion in general, I think 5 years is a stretch. Basically, I think like with all the different trends that's been popping out these days, it's difficult to predict. That's why my job is really tough at the moment.
Yeah, 5 years in fashion is like 20 years?
Exactly.
Real time?
Yeah.
Okay. Mandeep here is actually also part of the organizing team for Culture Cartel. So maybe he also can share a bit about how Culture Cartel can play a part in this creative industry in the next 5 years to come.
I mean, I think why I got involved in this is a passion project, right? I'm way too busy already. I didn't have to do this, trust me. But so the last few weeks have been crazy. But I thought it was great that we could do something, and like what you see here with the people standing in front of you was give them a voice. Even Jonning, for example, I think many of you would the first time even know his name. But hey, he has his dream job right now. He's working at Adidas in a global brand doing footwear design. He is living his dream, right? So I think Culture Cartel also, we hope, exposes many people, and we wanted, as you see, it wasn't just about, I mean, I do sneakers, right? You all know, a lot of you know that, and but it's not just about that, right? It's everything, you know. You see so many subcultures, skate, graffiti, art, tattoos, toys, something that's what I think sets this convention apart from maybe anywhere. So we wanted to just expose people and then give some people a voice and hopefully influence people to become creative, embrace the culture, what all of us love. And yeah, I mean, I hope this is not the last Culture Cartel. I hope we can build on it. And but for that, we need everybody's support. And thank you all for sitting down here, supporting this and coming this. So, but there's still tomorrow, so tell your friends. Because, yeah, I mean, we need everybody's support. If Singaporeans don't support Singaporeans, then I don't know where we're going to go in 5 years. You asked that question. I mean, we got to support each other where we can. And yeah, thank you again for coming on, all of you.
Okay, cool. Any last questions? Okay, if not, then I'm going to conclude this conversations. Thank you very much for sitting down and participating.